Good evening and welcome to eNews. I'm Shahan Ramkisoon. It's great to have you with us. Our top stories tonight. A province under siege with the body count rising to thousands in the Western Cape. The state capture inquiry hears about Jacob Zuma allegedly interfering with SAA contracts.
I'm completely embarrassed and utterly ashamed at what I did and what I said.
And a moment of madness or a racist rant. Adam Katz apologizes, but it seems his legal troubles are only just beginning. This leads our bulletin. More than 2,000 people have been killed in Western Cape gang violence this year. That's what the Community Safety Department is claiming. It says this figure has been calculated from the data from the Provincial Forensic Pathology Service provided to it. Now, the department is conceding that gangsterism in the province is out of control. Leanne Jansen reports.
These are just some of the tears shed and lives affected as a result of gang violence in and around Cape Town over the past 19 years. Residents are dodging bullets and hoping they survive another day.
There's the spate of killings going on. And there's a huge sense of criminality having just going loose.
The issue has brought Police Minister Bheki Cele to Cape Town almost weekly.
We can't have a parallel governance that is elected, formal, legitimate, and have a parallel government that is illegal, run by criminals.
Fritz has reiterated calls for all sectors to join forces to crush gang violence.
The need now is to get our safety of our people, stop gangster violence, and we can perhaps not always stop it. I think we can reduce it, but we'll come to that. And I want to just make the point that our community involvement is incredibly important. We also want to ask communities through our neighborhood watches to stop protecting and hiding gangsters.
Cele is placing particular focus on infrastructure and public lighting.
I can assure you, it will be forever difficult to police under these conditions. There should be proper streets. There should be proper address, because we don't know where to find you. So we'll have to move around the train, all that kind of thing. And that kind of thing gives the criminals who are more adapted on those conditions a better advantage. There should be proper lighting.
Still, all this is just talk until something concrete is done and residents get their streets back. Leanne Jansen, Cape Town.
Now, staying with the issue of gangsterism, what makes someone become a gangster? This is one of the questions Port Elizabeth officials are trying to answer. That's as they try to tackle the scourge in the northern areas. Representatives from the police, local government departments, as well as the NPA have been meeting to discuss how to approach the problem holistically. Sandy McCowan reports.
The message is clear, but in the northern areas, it's falling on deaf ears.
They decide to drop the school because they see those guys driving beautiful cars and they want to be them, and they see no point of staying in school if you can just have standard 6 and drive a beautiful car.
16 brackies hier son. Kom face ons. Kom aan julle.
Residents are so fed up, they recently took to the streets, armed and ready to take on the gangsters physically.
Because dropouts become big because of two reasons. One, some principals have a tendency to lock children out after 8 o'clock. So they roam the streets with an easy picking for gangsters.
To avoid a full-out war, all government departments in the city are gathering to try and deal with the school dropouts who are recruited into the gangs.
We've been meeting with other businesses to look at how best we can look at skilling those people, in fact, in terms of getting them skills so that they can survive, they can get employment, they can start their own business, alternative to the gangs.
But police say without help from the various officials, officers will ultimately fail and lose the faith of the communities they're meant to serve, meaning the gangs will stay where they are. Sandy McCowan, Port Elizabeth.
SAA's 2015 board was reckless. That's according to a witness at the state capture inquiry. Cynthia Stimple is the first of 16 people expected to testify on aviation. The inquiry will focus on SAA and SA Express for the rest of the month. Erin Bates reports.
The inquiry's aviation focus has liftoff. Tighten your seatbelt for news of a turbulent SAA, especially under then-board chair Dudu Mieni.
Chair, you will also hear evidence in relation to the culture of intimidation and threats that pervaded South African Airways for some period of time under Ms. Mieni's leadership.
Cynthia Stimples testified about a crisis at SAA in 2015.
We were in such dire straits to save every cent.
SAA was seeking a 15 billion rand loan. Former CFO Wolf Meyer reportedly told this story on a potential funder.
He was told that they must ensure that SAA gives this client the deal because number one wants this deal to happen. He understood that number one meant to be the president at the time, Mr. Jacob Zuma. The client then was Mr. Jayendra Naidu.
He relayed to you that he'd recorded the conversation.
He had got himself a pen which he could record with, and he had it in his pocket when he went into the meeting.
A proposal with 2 funding options went to Mieni's board. The options were scrapped in favour of a new player. The inquiry resumes on Friday. Erin Bates, Johannesburg.
Ashamed and sorry, that's the word from Adam Katz, who appeared in court after using the K word. He's facing a criminal injuria charge after sharing his racist outburst on social media while on holiday on a Greek island. Now, this matter has been postponed to next month, but Katz is also facing charges in Greece. Yanka Tolme reports.
In my moment of madness that I had last year, I'm completely embarrassed and utterly ashamed at what I did and what I said, and I express my sympathy and sorrow to anyone who upset.
To him, it was simply a moment of madness. To many South Africans, it was an outrageous racial rant that's seeing Adam Katz facing a charge of criminal injuria.
What we want is a deterrent. He can apologize and do whatever, but we need the criminal justice system to start helping us with deterrence and stronger sentences.
The state believes it has a solid case against Katz, despite the fact that the video in which he uses the K word was recorded and sent out in Greece. But his legal team disagrees. They'll be making representations to the Director of Public Prosecutions in Gauteng in the hopes of reviewing the decision to go ahead with the case.
In this instance, this video has been spread throughout the world, and especially in South Africa, where the uttering of that word is regarded as a criminal offence and is regarded as the offence of criminal injuria. So given the fact that the video has now made its way to South Africa, it has gone viral in South Africa, the entire country has seen that video, you could have an exception to that jurisdictional rule.
While this matter is expected back in court on the 10th of July, it's understood that he could also be facing prosecution in Greece. Yanka Tolme, Johannesburg.
In other news, National Assembly Speaker Thandi Modise says next week's State of the Nation address budget will be capped at 2 million rand. The guest list and the guards of honour will be slashed, with junior and civil guards not taking part in the procession. Now, she also confirmed that there will be no post-address dinner for MPs and guests. Parliament says despite the budget cuts, the event won't undermine public participation. And members of KwaZulu-Natal's Provincial Executive Council met with Zulu King Goodwill Zwelithini in KwaNongoma today. It's the first meeting with the monarch since their appointments. Premier Sihle Zikalala led the delegation. The executive has assured the king of their commitment to working with the Zulu King. Stay with us on eNews. The crisis in Zimbabwe seems to be getting worse as the government runs out of paper to issue new passports. And we'll find out how the markets are doing with Rupiwa.
That's right, Shahan. So the rand was flat against the US dollar today, and this as those geopolitical events continue to drive market sentiment.
Welcome back. Let's talk business now with Rupiwa. And of course, economic data showing that mining figures are not very good this time.
Not at all. And it's quite disappointing because we've had a slew of economic data out this week. Manufacturing, retail sales, really surprising and beating market expectations. Today we saw mining data coming out showing that mining activity or production has contracted for 6 consecutive months. So we saw on a year-on-year basis it was down 1.5%, and for the month of April it was down 2.3%. And the biggest contributor to this downfall was the gold sector, which was down 19.7% in terms of production. So the biggest issue here was the fact that we saw those wage strikes that were led by AMCU in the gold sector that lasted for 5 months, and production was heavily hampered there. So we didn't see enough production or the exports that we would usually see. Another issue here was the Eskom power crisis that's hit the mining sector for a while now, and the increasing power costs that they have to pay. So they just can't afford the cost of mining, coupled with wage disputes as well as the current economic environment. It's very difficult for the miners to operate. But economists are a little bit optimistic about the outlook. They say that if government hangs on to its promise that it will fix Eskom and that a plan is on its way, and that there's sustained power supply to companies like the miners or manufacturers, then we will see improved production and exports, and in turn see a little bit of growth in the sector in the coming quarters, Shahan.
Hopeful economists, we like that, don't we? So how do the markets perform?
So it was another interesting day on the markets today, but not much movement on the JSE. As we've discussed, we had disappointing local data today. We also had business confidence still in the doldrums, but that didn't push the local market too much in the red. So the JSE closed flat, and the biggest movers of the day were your general retailers, which lost 1.9%, as well as food and drug retailers, which closed 1.4% lower. If we take a quick look at your commodities, the price of gold is 0.5% higher as the metal continues to hold its safe haven status. The oil price has risen sharply after 2 oil tankers were attacked at the Persian Gulf. If we take a look at the local unit now, the rand is also sitting at a weak level, the same as it was yesterday. That domestic data out today uninspiring, so no positive catalyst for the local currency. And investors, Shahan, are still waiting for that State of the Nation address that's coming.
Yeah, all right. We'll be watching that quite closely.
Very
Thanks
closely
for that.
indeed.
Rupiwa Mutsena. Now, international news and more information on that story Rupiwa mentioned. There's been a suspected attack on 2 tankers in the Gulf of Oman near Iran. At this stage, full details of the cause of the incidents remain unclear. Both tankers have been evacuated and no crew members were injured. The incident comes just weeks after a ship was apparently sabotaged in the region. And as Zimbabwe's economic crisis worsens, the government says it's run out of paper to print new passports due to shortages of foreign currency. It's now only able to issue 30 passports a day. The country's biggest labor union says the unemployment rate has reached an alarming 90%. After the break, we'll tell you what the weather's looking like, and then he's 11 years old, he was bullied in school, he's recovering from cancer, and his life is about to change. We'll tell you why. Stay with us. Welcome back. Let's see how the weather's doing now. Joel Guy is standing by in Cape Town. Hey, Joel.
Thank you so much, Shahan. Well, we have some light rain going on over the KZN coastal areas in parts of eastern South Africa, but it should become drier over these areas as we get into Friday morning, except for the north coast of KwaZulu-Natal, where we're going to start off with some light rain and drizzle. The northeastern areas are going to be partly cloudy to cloudy with some fog patches for parts of Limpopo, Gauteng and Mpumalanga. Then over the central areas, it's going to be bitterly chilly here, where you see that shade of blue. Overnight temperatures dropping to below freezing in most areas. Then on Friday afternoon, we are going to once again see lots of sunshine for much of South Africa, but it will be rather chilly for the central areas. Fine conditions continue for much of South Africa as we go through Friday night. Now, let's take it closer to your part of the country. We start with the Northern Cape, where it's going to be very cold on Friday morning with minimums below freezing in most areas. Look at Sutherland starting at -7 and peaking at just 15. It will be a bit warmer for the northeastern sections. A chilly start to the day is also forecast for much of the Western Cape. It will be sunny for the province with highs in the upper teens and lower 20s in most parts. We are also expecting very cold morning temperatures for the northern areas of the Eastern Cape. Otherwise, it will be mostly sunny and mild to warm as well for much of the province on Friday afternoon. We start off the day with a bit of rain in KwaZulu-Natal around Richards Bay. It will become dry in the afternoon with a high of 21. Similar temperatures for Durban and around Ulundi. It will be mostly sunny for the Mpumalanga province, cold in the morning but cool to mild in the afternoon. Bombela peaking at around 20 degrees. We are expecting similar weather across much of the Limpopo province, where highs in the upper teens and lower 20s are expected. A cold morning as well for the northwest. It will be sunny and mild in the afternoon. Overnight temperatures below freezing are also forecast for the Free State, a high of 16 for Bloemfontein. Gauteng is going to be mostly sunny with a high of 18 in Johannesburg. Now here's quickly looking ahead to your Saturday. We are going to see lots of sunshine with mild to warm afternoon temperatures in most areas. Similar weather continues on Sunday with daytime temperatures warming up further in KwaZulu-Natal. That's all from me for now, Shahan. Back to you.
All right, thanks so much for that, Joel. Appreciate it. Now, a young musician is proving that bullies never win. Tyler Butler Figueroa was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 4. He was teased at school, with some children saying his illness was contagious. Now, the 11-year-old is a star, appearing on the hit show America's Got Talent. Here's Michael Marilia with this story.
This little boy could have given up. Just 6 years ago, he had leukemia. His classmates made fun of him, treating him like an outcast.
They would spread rumors to say that my cancer was contagious and they all wanted to stay away from me.
Tyler started taking violin lessons in grade 2. This week, he took center stage, appearing on America's Got Talent. The response was incredible.
I would like to say something on your behalf to the bullies.
Judge Simon Cowell hit the golden buzzer, allowing Tyler to jump several rounds in the contest. Tyler will now compete against some of America's top performers. Michael Marilia, Johannesburg.
Always good to end on a story like that, isn't it? Here's a reminder of our top stories before we go. A province under siege, with the body count rising to thousands in the Western Cape. The state capture inquiry. Here's how Jacob Zuma allegedly interfered with SAA contracts.
I'm completely embarrassed and utterly ashamed at what I did and what I said.
And a moment of madness or a racist rant. Adam Katz apologizes, but it seems his legal troubles are only just beginning. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter. That is at eNews ETV. From me, Shahan Ramkisoon, and the rest of the team, take care and thanks for watching.